Okay, we're here today on this boiler. There was a few other companies here. Was here on Saturday. So what occurred here was a technician was sent here from another company, and for an inspection, clean and check, and they red tagged the boiler and told the homeowner there was carbon monoxide. Now, this was, I believe, on Saturday. I was here. Yes, I was. 11. It was 11:1, and the other people were here in September of this year. Now, this lingered on from September. Subsequently, after dealing with 3 or 4 other people, a few showed up. They all agreed that this boiler needed to be replaced. Now, it is old. It's a gravity system. There's no circulator. But for the purposes of this video, this boiler is going to be reinstated, which I did make it active on Saturday. And I have other videos on this. I covered this. Okay. Now, what's occurring here is the air was not going to the burner. It was going up the chimney. And there was rising CO immediately. There was rising CO, and on a steady state, rising CO. So I'm not going to try to shake this too much. These GoPros. Now, this is what I got this down to. 0 ppm. It was a draft. Now, the first readings were over 2,000 parts per million. Going up the chimney. Not coming out, going up the chimney. No, what happened here was the homeowner told me they have a CO detector there. There was no CO going off. Nothing was spilling. But this boiler was making high CO because the air was being directed up the chimney, and it was not going down below to the burner. So what we're going to do is we're going to modify this draft hood with an MG1 6-inch gas barometric damper. And we're going to do a test on this. I'm going to look inside here to make sure it's clean too. And this should get these people through the winter. And towards the end of next year, we'll see. I advise them to replace this for efficiency. But homeowners, if you're calling plumbing and heating and air conditioning people to check your boilers, furnaces, water heaters, make sure they're certified in combustion analysis. This boiler could have been replaced with another atmospheric boiler, and the very same thing would have happened. One person wanted to put a condensing boiler in here. It wasn't necessary. So this is a simple case where a non-expensive cost repair makes this safe. Now, I don't know how they tested it because there was no holes here. I drilled a hole here, and I drilled a hole up above for the draft. So what they were doing was they probably were using an ambient. I have my testo today. Personal low-level detector. Or they make a personal carry on field controls or somebody with a sensor, and then they have them with a wand But we're gonna modify this, and I'll have the video of this being tested. So the other thing I wanted to say was the chimney sweep came back. As you can see here, they had put a liner and this is the kind of work people do. He put insulation in the chimney where it needs to be extended. So I'm going to put a piece in for the guy because that's what they did. They pulled the liner out and left the pipe at the wall. So in the meantime, let me get busy here, and I'll have a video on this. Okay, we completed the modification. Now you can see this gauge moving. This is the pressure in the house. I opened the door here. So the door's closed. The windows are closed. So I went in and out, and there's some air movement. You see the damper's moving itself. So they're going to get a rain cap, stainless steel, put on here. And what I did here was, you can see there, I cemented these damn lights blink. I cemented the extension in. I needed 12 inches to get in there and some cemented around here. Now we're gonna. What I did was I tripped those spill switches manually with a lighter. Excuse me, can you raise the thermostat? I'm waiting for him to. So all you do is put these two switches in, and these are the pressures in the house. So homeowners, if you're calling somebody that is not combustion certified to check your boiler and service it, clean it, you're taking your life or your health in your own risk. Okay, so I'll be right back. I'll just set this here. Can we raise the thermostat? Okay, so we raised the thermostat, and what I did was I put a little heat here to both of them. So that one's going to reset and we have ignition. So you want to make sure those switches work. Now pay attention to these numbers. I also vacuumed the now that'll drop right down. This is an old boiler. Before this was excuse me. We don't have no COs, you can see. So that's typical. An older boiler, no? As you can see, we're dropping right down. Okay? And shut my wind. So that's coming down. The oxygen's at and always, if anybody's watching this, you get certified for this, carry your personal CO monitoring, low level. I carry it all the time, especially in the winter. Now, you can see we got a good oxygen mix, and that's just coming right down. Now, this is controlling the combustion air and draft. Now, on this side of the damper, this is the draft in the chimney. Okay, so when you test for this, it has to be below this damper for the combustion test and the draft. But this part above this damper is immaterial. It's what's on top of the burner below that damper. You can see that thing's moving wide open. You see that? And in turn, as it's fluctuating, so is this. So it's relieving the excess of air. You see how that shot up? That's a high draft. This shooting up to about 5 to 6. I had one once go up to 7. So that's relieving the pull on the burner, which would, with the draft, would seal the combustion gas from going up the chimney. It's controlling the combustion air and draft. So no matter what occurs here, that burner will be at a between 0.1 to 0.2 water column of pressure. And this was the simple solution for this job. There were a total of, I believe, 6 people called. The original one red tagged the boiler, and then the gas company mysteriously claimed. Those are the 2 tags the gas company left. So the issue of this case, I call this a case. It was a life-threatening case or illness case. You could have got sick or fatality. The chimney was the cause. Okay, that was not the cause here. The combustion air was the problem. It was going in the wrong spot. You can see. I don't want to shine my light here. We're maintaining a 7.702, 12 ppm carbon monoxide at a steady state. Now, when this was on without this damper, that thing would go up to 6,000, 8,000, 1,400. It did it Saturday I was here. So that's where I modified temporarily with the foil tape. Do not try to make a permanent repair with the foil tape. This is not for homeowners or anybody to do permanently. You need to have the equipment and training for this to know what to look for. And again, any of you people that are making videos, I watch other videos. I'm not defaming nobody, using anybody's name. This is not a gas pressure issue. It'll appear to be. You start turning the regulator on that gas valve, nothing will happen. All you do is underfire the boiler Now once this is in, there may have to be an adjustment on the gas depending on the situation. So we're accordingly between 6 to 9% on oxygen. The carbon monoxide has dropped to 9 ppm. T-stack is 478. That's a good transfer heat. 575, between 290 to 575. So we're going to set my timer for 5 minutes.
5 minutes, counting down.
Now I vacuumed, when I took this draft hood off, I got my vacuumer and vacuumed out all the crumbs, crustaceans. The heat exchanger is pretty well open. This is an old Penco gas boiler manufactured by the Pennsylvania Furnace and Iron Co. Warren, PA. Warren, Pennsylvania is about an hour and a half to 2 hours from here. Well, maybe 3, not exact. So this was manufactured in Pennsylvania. This is the original Burnham coal-fired boiler. I still haven't found where they would bring the coal in. I'm assuming it's in this front room, but you can see that this is the old coal boiler. And from what I'm making out here, this was a job to maintain. There's some ash from the coal or the wood. And maybe it was a wood. Actually, this was a coal or wood. You can see the wood in there. They were burning this for a while with wood. Okay. So we're going to save this. We set this to the side. That's how the terminology goes for that. And this is something, a paper down here to get it started. This was a coal or wood boiler. Burn hand, keep flues clean. Hot water boiler, gravity, and this was the damper. See. So I don't know how they did here, what they did here with this. I mean, they had something to hold this open or whatever, I don't know. But from what I make out here, this chimney's big. They have a 10-inch flue there. So now here's what occurred here after the first guy and the 4 or 5 other people. We'll check the analyzer shortly. So they put a 6-inch stainless steel flue liner down this chimney. It's over 30 feet tall for this Penco boiler in a 3-inch water heater. Rule of thumb is you take the biggest flue and then the smallest one 1.5 times of that, the 7 times rule. So this called for a 7.5-inch chimney, but they don't make it, so it's 8-inch. This chimney was originally sized properly. The chimney people disagreed. They're going by BTU. If you undersize a flue, put a liner in, you can create big problems because you're restricting the flue from going up. The flue gas from going up, and you can have an undersized flue, depending, or whatever you could create, can be dangerous. And this sometimes would help, but the reason for the bigger chimney is double the size to get the flue gas up the chimney quick and to help make the draft. Now, this here is relieving the excess of air on the burner by regulating the draft and combustion air. And you can see that thing moving like hell. Okay, that's up to a 3 or 2.5. And when this is done, you take your draft. I'm not trying to teach nobody. Do not copy me or try to do what I do. If you're an HVAC company and you don't have the certification, do yourself a favor and get it. Anyway, we've took this old piece of equipment under control. We're about 7 ppm at 8.7 oxygen. The T-stack is 498. That's the temperature of the flue gas, which is pretty good. Anything below 290 or above 575, 290 below would be under fired. Slightly above 575 is okay, would be high fire. So this is doing pretty good. About a minute, as soon as my timer goes off, I'm going to save that. And print it out, and this is another case we fixed. Okay, so all this needed was modified. These are legal to do. You can look it up. It's in the National Fuel Code. So, it's only to make the appliance safe, not efficient. Although for this old timer here, we're burning at 76.3 efficiency. This gained a little bit of efficiency. So, besides a standing pilot, this is almost 80% now, just by adding the damper. But you can't add these for efficiency, only safety and if the equipment calls for it, like a power burner. Okay, so you can see how high the draft's going. And as that thing opens up, I'm going to hold this here, look how high it goes. It'll shoot up, come down. It's excessive air, and this relieves that. This corrects the low draft and high draft. So when this thing came on, it was sucking all the air up that draft hood, sealing. There it goes again, see? It's a phenomenon. You can't see the air in your house unless you would do a pressurization. There's leakage in here somewhere, okay? So when this thing comes on, it's pulling everything up this chimney. So we took care of this high draft case, which could have been deadly or lethal, although they weren't getting carbon monoxide. But what I'm trying to get across is, homeowners, the original service tech from the plumbing HVAC company condemned the boiler for putting out carbon monoxide and said it needed to be replaced. But he couldn't figure out what was causing the carbon monoxide. That's not a fully diagnosed excuse. So when I got here last Saturday, November 1st, I did the protocol, and I told the owner, I said, this is old, but this can be corrected. And I showed him by simply covering that draft hood over there with the tape and without it. Before I put the tape, I used a rag, big shirt. So this is under control now, okay? This is operating safely, despite the fact it's probably at least close to 100 years old or less. We got about 8.8 oxygen, 6 ppm. This is complete combustion. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to check the draft. Now, my whole time that I'm here, I have my personal testo walk around personal CO detector. Nothing's going off. Okay. And even if that 6 parts would come out, it's not going to do anything to you. So we're going to see what we get on the drive. So this basement is positive here. I'm holding this. This will tell you if it's positive or negative, but we're going to put this right in here. And our flue's negative, so we got a minus 0.02 draft. These first 2 numbers are nothing. And I'm going to check something here. Okay, we're going up to 3 now. We don't want to do that. So we don't need to put a weight on this. Some of these we have to. So no matter what's going on, that's opening wider. we got a 0.2 draft, okay? That's going to come down. I closed that. You know, on this side of the damper, this will give you the actual high draft reading. So you can't take the draft reading here. It has to be below this dilution here. But if your numbers are good, you don't have to worry about that. So as you can see now, this went down to a 1 to 2. It's back down to a minus 0.02. Okay, so it's a fluctuating between a minus 0.1 and 0.2. So no matter what occurs here, that'll stabilize the draft on the burner. Look at that. That's relieving the excess air. And that shot up, okay? This was a very dangerous thing that's been like that for years. As you can see, another telltale sign. I have it in another video. The rust. See the rust? That was coming out of the draft hood here. It's a short draft hood, but for that boiler, that's what they used. So between 0, 1, and 2, that's good. We're not going to put a weight. We don't need to. These boilers, they're tested on a 5-foot tall chimney. You can verify that yourself. I found that out late in my career. So all these boilers that are being produced atmospherically, they test them on a 5-foot tall chimney in the factory. There's no home with a 5-foot tall chimney. You gotta know what the hell's going on. Now they wanted to get this guy for a boiler, which I don't blame if it needed it. I mean, he don't have the money right now. Not that I'm degrading him. And I was able to get him by for the winter safely. This gas valve was replaced, I think last year. Somebody put a White Rogers gas valve, And so what I did was I said, get you by for the year or 2 years. After that, you got to change it. Now, if the new one's installed, it may need to be modified. We don't know. That's for another day. So there was no spill switches on here. We added safety devices in case they get a backdraft until they get their damn hood on, okay? This is a gravity board. As you can see, made in America is not actually made in America, I guess. False advertising. So we're going to see here. Now they do sell these kits for the fuel control, but I had a problem ordering them. They were packing them wrong, so I buy the spill switches and make the pigtails and wiring harness myself. So this is another case where we had a dangerous situation as a result. Here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, surrounding area, I will travel reasonably, and you got some problems with carbon monoxide, and people are telling you their boiler's no good, your boiler's no good. Give me a call. Any companies need any assistance figuring out a solution? Their techs don't know what they're doing? Give me a call. For a reasonable fee, I'll assist you. It's local. We can work something out. I know there's nobody in Pittsburgh that knows this, and I'm not bragging. There's about another two to three companies that I know of that have the certification, and other than that, be careful, homeowners, who you're calling. That's all I can tell you. Because, as you can see from this job, this was a dangerous situation. And all it was invisible air going the wrong way. So we stabilized the draft on this boiler. There it goes again. Wide open, man. And that burner will stay the same. It will not pull the flame off the burner or cool it off or cause impingement. It's amazing there was no impingement. I didn't see too much impingement. But it will cause the flame to go a different way and hit metal it's not supposed to. Okay, so in the meantime, homeowners, do your due diligence, be safe, and ask before you call anybody, if you're not in the state of Pennsylvania or Pittsburgh, if they're combustion certified, combustion Alice certified, and CO safety. It's big danger that's unseen. In the meantime, arrivederci.